Hey y'all, welcome back. So today's video is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be reviewing and swatching 3 different palettes. So these palettes may or may not be known to you, but these are all Morphe palettes and these are all my favorite palettes. So the reason I wanted to do this video is because Christmas time is coming up, obviously, and you may want to try these or you may want to give them as gifts, but you don't know which one to give out of these 3 because these are, in my opinion, the 3 most popular palettes that they have. So I'm here to kind of help you with that decision. So we have the Morphe, the new, what is this called? The 3502, and I will give close-ups of all of these in just a second. Then we have the Jaclyn Hill palette, obviously, and then the OG, the Morphe 350. Before we go any further, I just want you to subscribe. I'll wait. Just so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. I try to upload once a week on Sundays, I believe it is. So just subscribe. It's fun. It's fine. It'll be fun. So if you want to see my opinion on all 3 palettes and a few swatches, then let's just get started. So the way I kind of want to do this is go through each palette individually and then I will swatch them like together, kind of. You'll see, it'll be really simple and easy, but we're gonna go through this kind of quickly. I don't want to dwell on all of the details of the palettes. I mean, you've been around, you've probably heard of all 3 of them, so there's really not much to say other than compare the colors and the formulas of the shades. So I'm going to start with the 3502 because that's what I have like directly in front of me, and on the Morphe website this is called the 3502 Second Nature eyeshadow palette. I did not know that, but it retails for $23 and it's got 4.5 stars, 11 reviews. So this is what the 3502 palette looks like. Very pretty and very warm. Obviously this is a super warm palette. I feel like this is the warmest palette out of the other 2 that I have, the original Morphe and the Jaclyn Hill, and I wasn't expecting that. Like, the more and more I use this, I just realized like how warm it actually is. And like I used to be a cool toned girl. Like, I did not ever use warm eyeshadow palettes. I never used brown. Like, it's crazy. I used to only use grays and slates and that kind of stuff. So like, this palette being this warm is so crazy that I actually use this. But I actually use this mostly on my eye today and a little bit of the other 2, but it's mostly this palette. And I will sometimes steer away from this just because it is so warm and rich. And sometimes I just want just a dark eye, like a dark outer corner or something, like not anything too rich. So I feel like that kind of is not this palette, but that's just my personal opinion. If you love warm eyeshadows and just can swim in them, then this is your girl. And this palette is super dark. Looking at it on camera, like, it's a lot of dark shades. So also, if you're not comfortable using dark shades, I don't know if this will be the best palette for you. Moving on to the 350 palette. On the Morphe website, it is called the 35 Color Nature Glow Eyeshadow Palette, the 350, and it retails for $23. It has 9 reviews and 5 stars. So this is the very first palette I got, like I said, and I love this palette. Love this palette. This is what he looks like. I have been loving these 2 shades. I mean, obviously I've hit pan on both of these. These are the shades I use to set my eyelid. I will mix both of these and it just gives me the perfect like neutral all over shade for my eyes. And obviously this palette has got some love. I've had it for the longest time and I love this eyeshadow palette. I mean, it is just like, it's just the best. I feel like this palette is a little bit more wearable than the 3502. Obviously it doesn't have as dark of shades. Like, you've got this whole range right here, and then if you want to use like just a little bit of these lighter browns right here in your crease for a daytime look, you're good to go. But then if you want a smoky nighttime look, you have this section right here, you have some shimmery shades, and then you have these matte shades over here, which I love. And the other 2 palettes do not have matte white or matte like bone colors like this, and I do not like that. Like, that is the one thing I don't like about the Jaclyn Hill and the 3502 is because they don't have shades like this, and I always have to reach in for this palette to use these shades if I want to use another Morphe palette, because the other two don't have that. So that is why I gravitate more towards this one, because it does have a little bit of everything that I'm looking for. And the blendability on all of these shades, not just this palette, like all of these palettes, are just amazing. Like, I cannot complain about that at all. The color range, the color payoff, there's not a lot of fallout. That's in all of these shades, not shades, all of these palettes combined. So it's not just one palette that's over the other when it comes to those things. Now, one palette does excel a little bit more, but we'll get into that. Like I said, I just feel like you could wear this daytime, nighttime. This is my go-to palette. I will use this over my other many palettes that I have, like the Naked, Urban Decay, like that type of stuff. I will pull this one out above all else because I just love it that much. Last but not least is the Jaclyn Hill eyeshadow palette, and on the Morphe website it retails for $38. This one's actually got 37 reviews and 5 stars, so that's pretty awesome. So this is what the Jaclyn Hill palette looks like. I am not a fan of white packaging. I don't like it, not just with this palette, but with any palette. I don't like it at all. I feel like it gets very dirty, and it doesn't look as pristine as it did before you used it. That's just my opinion. It's got her little wording up here, which is cool. It sets it apart from the other Morphe palettes that don't have anything at the top. I sort of wish it had a mirror, but we're paying, you know, $23 for these, so, you know, you can't really complain. So this is what the Jaclyn Hill palette looks like. I love this palette because of just the shade range. Like, you have dark shades, you have light shades over here, you have shimmery shades, you have shimmery dark shades, you have your pops of color. I mean, you have everything in this palette that you could possibly need for an eyeshadow look. You can use this for daytime, you can use it for nighttime, you can use it during the summer, you can use it during the fall. Like, this is a versatile eyeshadow palette, and I feel like this is more versatile than the other two just because it has like just all these different kinds of shades in it that the other two don't have. I would just prefer if it had a white shade in it, like a matte white. I would just prefer that, but everything else I really like. There's just not much to say about each palette individually because all three Morphe palettes, like I said earlier, they all blend well, they all have great color payoff, they don't have a lot of fallout, which I don't really mind fallout, but sometimes it can get too much. They're just all around three great eyeshadow palettes. So I'm gonna swatch a few of the similar shades in each palette and let y'all see kind of for yourself like what swatches better, what looks better on the skin, that type of thing, and then I will go into explaining why I think one palette is just a little bit better than the other ones. Alright, so I tried to swatch 3 of the same types of eyeshadows from each palette. This one, obviously they're not going to all be the same, but you know, it is what it is. I just want to show you the different color payoffs and kind of explain to you the consistency behind each. So this one right here is from the 3502. This one is from the 350, and then this last one is from the Jaclyn Hill palette. So I think the 3502 swatches the best, and it felt the best to me, like the consistency wise. So I don't know, and that was just with one little swipe. I had to go into that one a couple of times. So the 350 original, not the best when it comes to swatching this particular color. Alright, so this one is from the 3502. The Morphe original 350, and then this one is from the Jaclyn Hill palette. So again, I think the Morphe, the 3502, I think that one swatched a little bit better, and the original Morphe is just not swatching that well, but I promise they're really good on the eyes, like all these are. Just some products don't swatch as well as the others. And then the Jaclyn Hill is still really nice, but it's just the 3502 is just a little bit darker and more rich. These are some pretty shades right here. This one is from the 3502, the 350, and then Jaclyn Hill. So obviously they're not the same. Like, these two are pretty much the same, but Jaclyn's is not. That one's obviously more golder. She didn't have like a coppery shade in her palette that I saw, like a shimmery shade. So that was the closest one I could find. It's really pretty. I would say that the Jaclyn Hill, the goldy shade, it felt better swatching, like the consistency of it felt better than the other two, but they all felt like really super creamy, and they actually have really good color payoff, so they're all pretty nice. Alright, so these are going to be kind of hard to see because I am so pale. This one is from the 3502, the 350, and Jaclyn's. So again, Jaclyn's is a little bit different, but I like that because you don't want the same shades in all three palettes, obviously. Jaclyn's felt so much better than the other two. It's just crazy. Like I've swatched like more than these shades, and they just all feel so good on the skin. They have great color payoff, just like all of them, but Jaclyn's is a little bit more. And the 350 is just swatching just a whole lot better than the 350, and I don't know if that's because I've had it for a long time or it just swatches better, but I mean, they're all super pretty. Alright, this one's from the 350 the 350, and Jaclyn. So Jaclyn's and the 350 look the most similar in this one, and I like Jaclyn's better. It just has like a better color payoff. It looks prettier on the skin, I feel like, but that just may be a color preference. I'm not a huge fan of orange to begin with, but I feel like Jaclyn's is a little bit more wearable, especially than the 350. Like, that's super orange, and some people like that. I don't like orange, like in general, so I probably would never put that on my eyes. After swatching all of these, I kind of have mixed emotions about everything. Just like, I don't really know which one is the best. Like, they all have like good qualities, some have not as good. It's just hard. The Morphe 350, not the best at swatching. I really love this palette. Like, on the eyes, very pretty. Swatching, not so much, but that happens. Like, it just happens. Happens with the best of them. Don't feel bad. It's okay. I love this palette. It is the original Morphe palette to me. The first one I ever had, so he will always hold a special place in my heart. Quit doing that. Now, the Morphe 3502 is darker if you're looking for a palette where you can use it specifically for daytime or fall looks. Not daytime, nighttime or fall looks or winter looks or whatever, it doesn't matter, then I would choose this palette. This palette swatches a lot better. The colors seem a lot more richer, and I really like this. Like I said, I use this mostly on my eyes today, and I like it. But it's not something that you have to have. Like, if you need all the best Morphe palettes, definitely get this one, pick them up. But if you don't, if you're just looking for something that you can use on the daily, Morphe palette it is, the 350, but this one isn't a must-have. Last but not least is the Jaclyn Hill palette. I think I like this one a little bit more than the others, like just a little bit more. And that's only because it has so much color range. Like, you can use it for whatever you want. And just when I was swatching it, if you have all of these palettes, like, swatch them all together and see what you think. But swatching all three together and mixing them up, putting my fingers in each of them, this one just exceeds the other ones. And I know that she created the formulas and stuff for it to make them better than the other ones, and I think she did a great job of that because the pigmentation is there. The quality is there. Like, they're just so buttery and smooth. The shimmery shades I have on my eyes right now, that is from this palette. I used these two right here. I used this on my wedding day, and I loved it. Like, the shimmery shades are just the bomb. You can use them with a finger, you can use them with a brush, you can use them with whatever you want, whatever you have, and they will just show up so pigmented. I love this palette just a little bit more than the 350. I think both of these in conjunction with each other are just an unstoppable power couple. If you are an addict, I would pick up both of these. If you are just an everyday user, I would pick up this one. If you're an everyday user who loves makeup, I would pick up this one. And if you're just an extra person like me, I'll pick up all three. I hope that I helped y'all make an informed decision on your Morphe purchase, whether it's to buy all of them or one of them. I mean, I have all of them and I love them, but you don't need all three. Like, you could definitely just choose one or the other depending on your personal needs and your personal preferences. I prefer all three, but I'm just like, I just love makeup. I think that's all I have left to say. Don't forget to subscribe, always, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. And I hope that y'all have a good week or weekend whenever you're watching this, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.